Top of the day, beautiful people. Top of the day. Alicia, yeah. Hey, girl, hey. I say, hey, girl, hey. I'm late, y'all. Clearly. I overslept again today. I completely overslept. Ali, shalom. Boy, hitting that alarm clock. Just a few more minutes to get you every time, right? Happy Tuesday, everybody. It is the 1st of March, 2022. Day number 44 of year 4, reading through the books of the Law and the Prophets, another 4-year consecutive day count, day 1062. Today in the complete Annunaki Bible, we starting in tablet E. And that's on page 105. And then we're going to start chapter 25. Was it 25? Oh, wrong one. Yeah, chapter 25 in my big toe. Yeah, chapter 25 on page 205. All right, so let's get started. Y'all, may you continue to lead us and guide us into all truth. All right, y'all. All right, y'all. Tablet E, page 105. Book of Eclipses and the Astrology. Eclipses are a natural phenomenon that occur when a celestial object, like the moon, casts a shadow on another object as a result of an astrophysical alignment. A shadow always exits from our moon, but is usually cast off into space. Best conditions for experiencing an eclipse occurs when Earth is in its farthest position from the sun, aphelion, and the moon is in the closest possible tongue-tied already. Best conditions for experiencing an eclipse occurs when the Earth is in its farthest position from the sun, aphelion, and the moon is the closest possible to the Earth, perigee. Implications of the eclipse event have never been fully explored in the New Age, and of course, lore fragments found in various ancient traditions are not necessarily synchronous. Many of the tablets surrounding this lore from Mesopotamia are largely broken. Some ancient systems viewed eclipses as harbingers of doom, like comets, and others openly invite the energy into their religious rituals. Okay, there is this movie. When they say they look at them like the eclipses as harbingers of doom, it's this movie. We saw it on Netflix. Hold on. And this was one of the ones because they were like, I ain't gonna say they were Indians. They were like, I guess you could call them Native Americans. And then you had some Americans or some Europeans coming to this particular land. And the people over here, it was two different, let's just call them Native American tribes. There were two different, well, actually there were a few different ones, but there was one particular one that was like on the same land, but like on the furthest side of the other land, that was actually kind of helping the Europeans when they came to take as slaves this other particular tribe. But when you get over there onto their part of the land, they were actually doing rituals, and the people the people from the other tribe that they were helping the Europeans catch, they were using them in their ritual. And they had like this it wasn't a pyramid, but it was almost shaped like a pyramid, but they stood on top of it. They went all the way to the top. And it was almost like, if you ever seen these like the city of Atlantis, like that water slide pyramid thing that they have, it was built something like that, with like this little slide kind of on the that goes down the front of it. you had the people down there worshiping. So they was worshiping, apparently they was worshiping a deity, right? So they were using this other tribe as sacrifices. And so apparently when they get them to the top, they have this thing where they cut off their heads, or they crush their heads, and the blood flows out and flows down this side of the mountain thing, so to speak, but it's an offering to the gods. But I said all that to say, when it said that ancient systems viewed eclipses as harbingers of doom, it was kind of like that same thing. It was almost like they had never experienced an eclipse before, and they reckoned it to be the deity that they were worshiping, that he was completely satisfied with the sacrifices that they were given. Because when the sun eclipsed them, or where the moon eclipsed the sun, it got completely dark where they were. And it was like everybody paused. It was like they had never seen it before. And it was like either the god is mad or the god is happy. But it was doing it. The whole movie is in another language. So you literally, if you're not familiar with the tongue, you literally had to read the whole movie. But it started out so good, they kept me captivated for 2 hours reading the whole movie. I'm gonna see if I can find. I forget the name of it. I know it when I see it, but I just don't remember the name of it. But that's one of those type of things, right? When they didn't necessarily understand what was happening, they always related it to something spiritual or supernatural, right? Uncle Nathaniel, peaceful greetings. Uncle JB, Grand Rising. Shayla, peace and greetings. Mom, shalom, shalom. Oh, great spirit, Yah. Let our spirit be filled with your presence, oh, great spirit, Yah, so that we glorify you in everything that we do. Okay, back to the reading. Some ancient systems viewed eclipses as harbingers of doom, like comets, and others openly invite the energy into their religious rituals. The range of a total eclipse is a very narrow path, and the phenomenon generally lasts for a few minutes along each point of the path. It might seem unlikely to some that these brief events themselves would have held the ancient people in significant states of fear, but lore suggests otherwise. The occasion of one such eclipse appeared in Greece in May of 585 BCE, simultaneously when two armies, the Lydians and the Medes, were about to engage in combat. Both sides felt that this event was an omen for them to make peace, which resulted in a treaty. Annunaki lore suggests eclipses are a part of a timekeeping device of the gods. The traditions of their prediction first began among the ancient Babylonians. Some scholars believe that the ancient wizards tracked eclipses so that they could give the common people the illusion that the priests could ritually control such events, having first predicted its timing secretly. Examination of ancient tablets revealed that Babylonians possessed knowledge of and named the Saros cycle, a concept still used for studying this phenomenon in modern astrophysics. Saros, Saros, is a Babylonian word meaning recursive or reoccurring, very close to the concept of cycles. This cycle is the root for an ancient observation of the great year, which also means that Stonehenge is not just a calendar, but one specific to measuring time by the eclipse, meaning the Earth Moon relationship. This cycle has shifted slightly since the time of ancient observations due to changes in both Earth rotational and distance between the Earth and Moon. The moon has approximately 13 synodic months for every cycle of the sun. Therefore, the chances of both celestial bodies aligning at points of ecliptic potential will be infrequent, approximately every 18 years plus 10 days, according to the Babylonian tablets. This is remarkably accurate given the amendment by modern astrophysicists as 18 years plus 10.32 days. The original Saros of Mesopotamia was actually a 54-year cycle composed simply of three 18-year observations. 3 times 18 equals 24. Saros Series 145 made a famous appearance on August 11th, 1999, just before the new millennium. It began in India, spread across Europe, and disbanded in the Pacific Ocean over a period of 187 minutes. This same cycle returned on August 21st, 2017, cutting across North America, providing local practitioners a chance to tap into this energy. No eclipse of this magnitude has graced the United States since 1979. Joshua Free, editor of this current book, attended this eclipse at the Carhenge Monument in Nebraska, which fell upon the path of totality. The zodiacal wheel was put into place by the Annunaki in order to define the ages of reign for each among the celestial pantheon. Each period or zone or house consists of 60 degrees of the full wheel and lasts for 2,160 years, or 72 times 30. Some dispute erupted over the fact that by using astronomical observation, the visibly observed ages are not equal time periods because the houses or domains of zodiacal constellations are not equal size. Each constellation does not take up the same arc of visible space. Zechariah Sitchin noticed the phi ratio between the 2,160-year cycle of Earth time and the 3,600-year cycle of star, heaven, or divine time called a SAR, pronounced Shar. Trina, hey girl, hey. What is the Baha'i faith? You know what? I looked it up. I know they mentioned that in the video that I shared. Y'all remember? Eat the meat, spit out the bones. I haven't looked into the Baha'i faith, so you're gonna have to look that up. I know they mentioned it. I did look it up. Before, but it's been so long that I forget. Right? It still seems like a mix of certain things that people are doing, if I remember correctly. But I want to say it's more of a, I want to call it purist. More kind of, I don't know. I think it's a, you're going to have to look it up. It's like a higher level than Christianity, but yeah, you got to look it up. Don't let me start calling out stuff because I don't remember. It's been so long since I looked it up. Yes, I think that's the movie, Kimball Matt. That's what it was. Apocalypto. Thank you. Okay, I described it good enough for somebody to realize what I was saying. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna share that link. It was Apocalypto. Thank you. I'll share the trailer for it. Okay. Let me read this last sentence. Each constellation does not take up the same arc of visible space. Zechariah Sitchin noticed the pi, is it pi or phi? Pi ratio, yes, the pi ratio. Zechariah Sitchin noticed the first pi ratio between the 2,160-year cycle of Earth time and the 3,600-year cycle of star, heaven, or divine time called a SAR, pronounced Shar. And it has a footnote 37 for Shar. The S in such translations as Sar, Samas, and Ishtar is pronounced sh in transliterations, making the words Shar, Shamash, and Ishtar. Okay. Back up. The word zodiac literally means wheel of animals, which refers to a unique plane of star constellations. Astrophysicists call this area the celestial sphere. It is derived from an ancient belief that the sky heavens or outer universe is a dome suspended around the Earth planet. The astrological zodiac used today was essentially handed down from Babylonian lore of houses and zonai for this celestial sphere. Originating as an observed agricultural calendar, the Babylonians equated the lunar solar system to their Metonic cycle, and it has reference 38 for Metonic cycle, named for the Babylonian astronomer Meton. Okay. Astrophysicists call this area the celestial sphere. It is derived from an ancient belief that the sky heavens or outer universe is a dome suspended around the Earth planet. The astrological zodiac used today was essentially handed down from Babylonian lore of houses and zonai for this celestial sphere. Operating as an observed agricultural calendar, the Babylonians equated the lunisolar system to their Metonic cycle of 19 years or 235 months. Each annual year, Sati, was divided into 3 seasons: beginnings, Re Sati, middle, Misil Sati, and ending, Kit Sati. Each month, Ara began at the new moon, or as it is stated in some sources, the new moon crescent. According to the records, every seventh day, called a Shabbat, which no doubt contains clues to the source of both Sabbath and Sabbat, was treated as simultaneously holy and evil or great days, and offerings were made to select groupings of pantheon. Okay, so this is what if you look, okay. Well, if you look at it, which calendar is it? The It's the world's last chance calendar. If you look at that app and you actually switch not to the monthly Gregorian calendar, but if you switch over to the other calendar that they use, it'll show the days 7th, 14th, 21st, 28th going like down. And it'll all fall in the same order on every single month, right? So for here, they have 7th day, the 14th day, the 21st day, and the 28th day. And it has for the 7th day, which was a Sabbath, Marduk and Ishtar or Sarpanit. And on the 14th day, or each of these days that they label as a Sabbath is a different Sabbath that they use to worship a different deity. And that's who it is. This is who each Sabbath was dedicated to. The first Sabbath of the month, which was the 7th day, Marduk and Ishtar or Sarpanit. On the 14th day, which was the second Sabbath of the moon cycle, Nergal and Ninlil, spouse of Enlil. The 21st day of the third Sabbath of the month, Nana Sin and Shamash or Samas. And the 28th day, which would be the last Sabbath of the moon cycle, Inki and Damkina or Ninki. Thousands of years ago. Don't ask me no questions about that, y'all, because I don't know. We still looking into it. I'm just like, crap. Gotta look into the Sabbaths now. Those are just my thoughts reading over this. Okay. Thousands of years ago, not that I'm gonna stop celebrating the Sabbath because that's just good common sense of keeping the body in good working order, right? You need to rest today. Thousands of years, or at least as long as we have these physical bodies, all right, we definitely need to rest today. Thousands of years ago, Sumerians determined that a circle held 360 degrees. With the divisions into 12, each house consists of 30 degrees. They applied this law to a zodiacal calendar consisting of 12 months of 30 days to compose a 360-day year. Seeing all systems as circles, they conjectured that every functional cycle, annual or otherwise, consisted of this type of mathematics. Even the theoretical orbit of Nibiru, and it has reference for 39 for Nibiru, the star of crossings or a dark star, possibly a stargate, is what they're referring to Nibiru as. Okay. Even the theoretical orbit of Nibiru is recorded as possessing a 3,600-year orbit based on Earth time. This is also equivalent to 60 times 60, with 60 being a number of perfection in the Sumerian tradition, confirmed by the Annunaki designation of 60 being reserved for Anu, king of heaven. Tiffany, hey girl, hey. If everything in the universe did exist in perfect circles and spheres, the Sumerians would have been dead on. Even still, their overnight intellectual and technological development continues to astound historians. As it stands, the universe is not composed of spherical planets or, I'm sorry, as it stands, the universe is not composed of spherical planets and circular orbits, at least not perfectly. In reality, everything is elliptical. This is observable by the fluctuating distances that any given planet can have from the sun. Sometimes Pluto is not even the furthest, and it is ridiculous to put forth any energy in debate over planetary semantics of this one. The sun's apparent annual path through the zodiac, oh, I'm sorry. The sun's apparent annual path through the zodiac. Yeah, am I saying it right? Zodiac is zodiac. Okay, let me try it again. The sun's apparent annual path through the zodiac is also elliptic. It occults or eclipses the constellation in a position between the earth and the zodiac. Ancient folk commonly referred to the celestial sphere as a sky dome, not because they thought it was flat below, but because only half of this revolving sphere or wheel could be visible above the Earth's equatorial plane. Traditional or tropical astrology still maintains the zodiacal system as it was set down by the Chaldean, Babylonian, and Egyptian traditions of Hermetics. The elliptic imperfections of the solar system mentioned prior have actually shifted not only the Earth's axis, but also its position toward the celestial equator. Tropical astrology observes the start of the zodiacal wheel of the year on the spring equinox when the sun enters the house or the zone of Aries, because the tradition that we use today is based on the age of Marduk. But today, the sun no longer but today, the sun no longer enters the house of Aries at this time. Currently, the sun is moving through the zone of Pisces on the spring equinox, which is why we calculate the modern era as the age of Pisces. This shift continues to change with time. Keeping with tropical or Aryan astrology is simply a Marduk way to cast astrology. So we're no longer in the age of Pisces. We're actually in the age of Aquarius as they calculated. And I forget who rules Aquarius. Marduk doesn't rule Aquarius anymore. Hence, if you want to look at it from this perspective, I guess from the New Age perspective, which is why a lot of different people waking up realizing that the age has changed. A lot of people is casting off a lot of the church doctrine, is because they explain it in different cultures, different ways. But according to this, it's because the what do they call it in the church? The dispensations have changed. That's what the church calls it. The dispensations have changed, but they still like to keep JC in it, which actually falls under Marduk. And all those names we'll see when we get to the book of names for Marduk, that all the ones that they gave to JC actually is also way before JC came on the scene, or they created him. They were all names given to Marduk, which were previous names of others. But when Marduk's age set in, he took everybody's names and made them his own. So anytime you said it, he related everybody else's name to him. Okay. I forgot. I ain't gonna look it up, but I forget. I'm gonna spend some time trying to figure out exactly which page. It may go through here, through this chapter, and list it out. Hold on. It's listing all the signs, but it doesn't necessarily. Let me just keep reading. I thought it was gonna have the name of. It's not in here, but I have it. I thought it would mention it. Okay. Maybe we'll figure it out through here as I keep reading. Okay. Okay. Keeping with tropical or Aryan astrology. I'm sorry. Nope. I skipped a sentence. Let me just go back before the one I skipped. But today, the sun no longer enters the house of Aries at this time. Currently, the sun is moving through the zone of Pisces on the spring equinox, which is why we calculate the modern era as the age of Pisces. This shift continues to change with time. Keeping with tropical or Aryan astrology is simply a Mardukite way to cast astrology. Sun signs are what most people are referring to in astrological birth charts or horoscopes, or when you affirm, I am a Gemini, etc. The 12 signs of the zodiac are easily split into gender polarities of male and female, corresponding with their elemental attributes. As a triune, the signs are further categorized into three groups: cardinal, which is initiating; fixed, which is perfecting; and mutable, which is versatile. Finally, the zodiac is applied to elemental lore, offering high energy fire signs, practical earth signs, communicable air signs, and emotionally intuitive water signs. With few exceptions, relative consistency exists throughout various interpretations of tropical astrology, such as those that follow. The polar sign is the house that represents the polar opposite of the sign you are referencing. Each sign also corresponds to a Sumerian Chaldean zoni, an energetic domain like those attributed to the planets. An example: Venus equals love. Solar oriented calendars often have 12 months and zones in honor of the ages and Annunaki, but many astrological cultures observe that there are really 13 months in a year and would usually adjust for this by adding a mysterious 13th month. Babylonians called it the second Adar. The annual year begins approximately March 21st with the month of Nisanu or Nisan, with the Mardukite festival of Akiti. So now it has this little comparison chart with the Babylonian wheel and the Sumerian wheel for right here for the 12 months, right? So I'm gonna read them. Okay, so for the Babylonian, I'll read them simultaneously. I go back and forth between the Babylonian wheel and the Sumerian wheel. Okay, so the Babylonian wheel for number one for the first month is Nisanu or Nisan, March 21st. On the Sumerian wheel, it's called Kumal or Aries. The second month is Aru or Ayar on the Babylonian wheel. On the Sumerian wheel is Guana or Taurus. On the Babylonian wheel, the third month is Samanu or Siwan. And the third one on the Sumerian wheel is Mashtaba or Gemini. And clearly we know for my Hebrew brethren who follows this or look at the different months, and also Jewish, you will see it's the same thing. Y'all using the same Babylonian wheel, for the month counting. The fourth month is Duuzu or Tammuz, and the fourth month for the Sumerian wheel is Dub or Cancer. The fifth month for the Babylonian wheel is Abu or Ab, and the fifth month on the Sumerian wheel is Ergula or Leo. The fifth month on the Babylonian wheel is Ululu or Elul, and on the Sumerian wheel, the sixth month is Absin or Virgo. On the Babylonian wheel for the seventh month, we have Tish Ritu or Tishri, September 21st. And the seventh month on the Sumerian wheel is Zibana or Libra. The eighth month on the Babylonian wheel is Ara Samana or Marsheshvan. And the eighth month on the Sumerian wheel is Gertab or Scorpio. The ninth month on the Babylonian wheel is Kislevu or Kislev. And the ninth month on the Sumerian wheel is Pabil or Sagittarius. The 10th month on the Babylonian wheel is Tibitu or Tibet. And the 10th month on the Sumerian wheel is Suhermash or Capricorn. The 11th month on the Babylonian wheel is Shabbatu or Sibat. And the 11th month on the Sumerian wheel is Gu or Aquarius. On the Babylonian wheel, you have for the 12th month a Daru or Adar. And the 12th month on the Sumerian wheel is Sema or Pisces. And for the Babylonian wheel for the 13th month, they put in second Adar. For the Sumerian wheel, there is no 13th month. Old school maps were elliptical. Yeah, that's a good point that you that's a good point, Tiffany. Okay. Got some other comments. Lindsay, yeah, shalom, shalom. Another outstanding informative read. Benny, what book are you reading from? Say shalom, shalom, Benny. We're reading from the complete Annunaki Bible, right? We found out about this a couple months back while we were reading through the Lost Book of Enki, while we're researching the original origins of the current Bible that we use. Seeing about us reading through it together for the last 4 years. Well, we're in year 4, so together we've been doing this for 3 years, but I've been doing it since like 2013 nonstop. And we've just noticed some things that we began asking questions about, which led us to the Apocrypha and some of the other missing books and scrolls and manuals. And even after that, and reading through that in the book of Enoch, we still had other questions where it seemed like something is missing from this. It still seems incomplete, right? So we started searching around and we started looking into the older manuscripts and stuff, and we realized that the Bible is plagiarized from more ancient texts from the Sumerian text. So this is bringing some of those tablets together, and they just called it the complete Anunnaki Bible, right? It's the tablets that they got from tablet A all the way to tablet Z, but each tablet has a name. And they just translated it from the cuneiform that they found. Okay. Yeah, Kimber Mac. That song Age of Aquarius is making sense now, right? Lindsay, I dislike that left my Bluetooth headset at another location at the plantation. What, Lindsay? I didn't make the connection. I must have said something or read something, or you just mentioned something that kind of related to what we was reading, but I completely missed it. Okay. All right, y'all. So let's go to this next section. Zodiac of the Sun. And remember, this is what's this? Tablet B we're in? No, I'm sorry. Tablet E, Book of Eclipses and the Astrology. This is what they found in the Sumerian text in the cuneiform. All right. Zodiac of the Sun. The first one starts with Aries, or the ram or sheep, or which I'm an Aries, right? March the 30th. Hey, March 21st through April 19th. Y'all know they didn't try to change this. They've adjusted this. And according to the adjusting, I'm no longer a Aries, but it moved me to the next one. I was like, I refuse. I will be an Aries until I return to my maker. You can't adjust this, right? I really felt some type of way about it, right? Even though I really just started looking into the zodiac and all that stuff, because I used to stay away from it because the church taught me it was of the devil, right? But once I started waking up and asking questions, like, wait a minute, we need this information, right? And while staying away from it is not helping us to wake up and what we're supposed to be doing and who we really are, right? But anyway, I digress. Number one, Aries, the ram or sheep, March 21st through April 19th. It's a fire sign. Cardinal, Mars, masculine. Polar sign is Libra. Color is red. The first house of the self, fir, pine trees, passion, and courage. Number two is Taurus, the bull. Oh yeah, why it's still available? Gee, shalom. Yeah, get it while it's available, y'all. They be snatching stuff. Stuff is stuff that I put in my cart, like books that cost a little bit more. If I put it in my cart and I don't get it right away, a lot of times, either the sellout, it's just no longer available, meaning it's been sold out, right? But if I come across it and it's like one left or two left, depending on the price, but that one for $4,000, I couldn't get that one. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to come into agreement with my husband on this price. Like the most I paid for a book is about $500. Honestly, I ain't going over that amount without running it past my husband yet, right? And y'all heard his comment that day we was talking about it. You better not purchase no book for $4,000. I put it in. Well, I didn't even put it in a cart, but when y'all remember, it was a couple weeks ago and I went back looking for it, that Russian book, it was gone. I couldn't find it. But when you Google, I found one similar to it. That joker was $8,000. It was 82. It was like 82 and some change. I was like, this is crazy, right? Probably, and they probably jacked it up because of all the stuff that's going on with Russia and Ukraine, right? But it has some interesting information in there talking about the original people who were in Russia who were of a darker hued skin, right? Darker than me. So, but yeah, in the book, from the cover and from some of the snippets, the color of their skin was actually the color this right here. This, see the black in this little picture frame right here. They were like that color, right? Them prices was off the chain. I was like, who is gonna? I am not at this point in time in life. That book would literally need to talk to me. Like it would have to come alive and reenact its contents in front of me, right? Before I pay $8,000 for a book. That's my thoughts today. Okay. Let me get back to what I was reading. Okay. Number two, Taurus, the bull, April the 20th through May the 20th. Earth, it's an earth sign. Fixed, Venus, feminine. Polar sign is Scorpio. Color is pink. The second house of possessions, pear tree, possessive, and dependable. Gemini, the twins or brothers, May 21st through June 20th. It's an air sign, mutable, Mercury, masculine. Polar sign is Sagittarius. Color is yellow. The third house of communication, walnut trees, lively and responsive. Cancer, the crab or the scarab, June 21st through July 22nd. It's a water sign. Cardinal, the moon, feminine. Polar sign is Capricorn. Color is silver. The fourth house of family and home. Maple trees, protective and loyal. Leo, the lion, July 23rd through August 22nd. It's a fire sign. Fixed, sun, masculine. Polar sign is Aquarius. Color is orange. The fifth house of creativity, lime or citrus trees, devoted and exuberant. Virgo, the maiden or virgin, August 23rd to September 22nd. It's an earth sign, mutable, Mercury, feminine. Polar sign is Pisces. Color is gray. The sixth house of public service. Hazel trees. Impressionable and thoughtful. Libra, the scales or horizon, September 21st to October 22nd. It's an air sign, cardinal, Venus, masculine. Polar sign is Aries. Color is green. The seventh house of partnership and relationships. Ash trees, romantic and charming. Scorpio, the scorpion, October 23rd through November 21st. It's a water sign. It's fixed. Pluto, feminine. Polar sign is Taurus. Color is violet. The eighth house of regeneration, replenishment, blackthorn trees, intense and idealistic. Sagittarius, the archer, November 22nd through December 21st. Sapphire sign, it's mutable. Jupiter, masculine. The polar sign is Gemini. Color is purple. The ninth house of introspection and self knowledge. Chestnut trees, energetic and optimistic. Capricorn, the goat, December 22nd to January the 19th. Earth, cardinal, Saturn, feminine. Polar sign is Cancer. Color is dark green. The 10th house of career, cautious and steady. Aquarius, the water carrier, January the 20th through February 18th. It's an air sign, it's fixed. Uranus, masculine. Polar sign is Leo. Color is bright blue. The 11th house of hopes and dreams. Cherry trees, charismatic and friendly. And the last one, Pisces or the fish, February the 19th through March the 20th. It's a water sign, it's mutable. Neptune, feminine. Polar sign is Virgo. Color is sea green. The 12th house of secrets, willow trees, sensual and compassionate. All right. The next section is Zodiac of the Moon. And this is the last section before the end of this tablet, and we'll pause. And tablet F is the book of 50 names of Marduk, which we are going to have to wait until Thursday to get to because we won't be here tomorrow. But y'all can read ahead if y'all want to. Okay. Zodiac of the Moon. Wizards and mystics commonly use moon signs for ritual applications and astrology. In each lunar month, the moon the moon processes through each of the houses signs of the zodiac. It remains in each zone for 2 or 3 days a month, which if it's falling in your sign for that month period, that's the 2 or 3 days you should be fasting. Remember, we talked about this a few weeks ago. If it slipped your mind, make sure you keep and watch. I'm telling you, when you do it, it's going to help you spiritually, right? I'm not even quite sure how it helps, but it helps if you're mindful of that. You actually begin to tune your body, your physical body back to nature while your spirit is being developed during this time. Like I can't even begin to explain to you why it happens. It just does. But you got to practice it to know that it's actually changing and it's actually working, right? I'm just saying, y'all, everything we learn, bring it along. Make sure you just add it to what you're doing until it becomes a natural thing, right? I don't know why it works, but it works, y'all. And especially now that we're practicing more out of body experiences, knowing that we can do it on purpose and go into that realm and pull answers and have our prayers answered just about immediately now. The more we practice it and do it, it works. I'm just saying. But if you don't actually taste the pudding, you can't tell. So it just sounds like a bunch of blah blah. Yeah, get out of here with that to you, right? Don't look at us like we're crazy because we tasting the pudding. It's good. Come taste it. Come taste and see. Okay, let me stop. Wizards and mystics commonly use moon signs for ritual applications and astrology. In each lunar month, the moon processes through each of the houses, signs of the zodiac. It remains in each zone for 2 or 3 days a month. Magical and herbal oriented New Age almanacs usually provide this information. Lunar energy has both its bright light properties and its hidden shadow polarity, corresponding to the persona and the shadow self, respectively. Subtle energetic vibrations or rays from the lunation cycle relate specifically to natural magic, earth magic, or green magic. Y'all ever heard of like the Green Witch? It's actually a literal book, it's a couple of them. It's called the Green Witch, right? But if you're kind of Christianized, you would think it's really, but no, it's more like herbalist stuff, right? If you're a herbalist, so you're going back to the natural ways of living, a lot of the stuff, when you're actually studying it, you actually begin to run into a lot of what they call hoodoo and voodoo, because they both fall under that realm, right? It's really getting is getting familiar with the land around you and learning what its uses can be. Now, some people use them for nefarious reasons, just like in the time when they had slave masters, right? They called them witches and stuff, because first of all, they used them to cook their food, right? But because they were very well acquainted with the land and with herbs and stuff, they called them witches. Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. Why? Because they thought the witches, the warlocks, was killing the slave master, and they were. And they weren't doing it like, I'm gonna slit your throat. No, we're gonna add a little Suge Avery P to it, right? It was a line from Color Purple, if y'all not familiar with the movie Color Purple, right? They knew how to kill you slowly or to kill you quick with what grows from the land, right? They labeled them as bad hoodooists, witches, you doing voodoo. They simply understand the land that they live in and how to use it, right? And how to use it to get you if you screw with them, right? They weren't just coming after you, they was minding their own business, but they knew it was a form of defense for them to protect themselves, right? Don't go out there messing with nobody, right? But they will defend themselves, and they use what they knew, their knowledge of their land and the herbs and stuff, to defend themselves, right? Don't come for them. You won't have no problems with those who understand how to use the herbs and the things that grow naturally from the land, right? You ain't got to worry about it, right? I'm just saying. But those, y'all get it. I don't need to keep going into that. Okay. Lunar energy has both its bright light properties and its hidden shadow polarity, corresponding to the persona and the shadow self, respectively. Subtle energetic vibrations of rays from the lunation cycle relate specifically to natural magic, earth magic, or green magic, ritual magic, and construction and consecration of talismans and amulets. Whenever interpreting astrology, consider symbolism of both the planetary and the zodiacal attributes. Okay, so now it's going to go through the 12 signs again, but it's going to talk about the moon in the different phases of the zodiac. So the first one is the moon in Aries. Optimism, outgoingness, opinions, impulsiveness, new beginnings, alchemy, and fire magic. That's probably me all the way around, right? My husband, like, you always starting stuff. I'm like, yeah, don't mean I necessarily have to finish it. I just need to find somebody else to finish what I start, right? I make a good entrepreneur. Oh my God. Seriously, that's what entrepreneurs do, right? They start stuff, but you they are great, right? You need them to get stuff started. Otherwise, people ain't going to move, bruh. We got to get you started. But with knowing we're the fire starters, we get things popping. We also have to realize that we're not necessarily the not that we don't finish, but there are others who come alongside us to help carry it through, to make sure the legs part of it get done, right? You need the Aries to get something started, get it popping, but to bring the other signs around who are like like the workers, so to speak, if that makes sense. You need them, or what you would call employees, right? You need them to actually get it done. We
can't
got the vision.
say
We'll
that.
put it out there. Now y'all got to do it. I'm gonna help you, but let me go. I got to get everybody else moving, but y'all got to bring y'all gifts together and get this going. This is how you do it. Boom, 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 like this. Go get it done. I'm off to the next thing.
Just start fighting, just walk away. Like, you cannot think that way.
I don't start them and walk away. I make sure I get the flame is going, but I can't sit here and maintain it and nurse it. Right? There are other people that can do that. Everybody, I don't have eyes all over my body.
I don't agree with that. If you're gonna be, I feel, a good steward, you complete the task that is in front of you.
Right. I mean, there are definitely tasks that I complete, but there are some. There are definitely tasks that I complete. What don't I complete? I mean, I get, yeah. I
live with you, okay?
I start stuff.
Go ahead.
Like, but this right here, like what I do in the morning, I didn't just start this. This is stuff, this is a constant daily starting of the fire.
And then after that, you go to sleep.
No.
You go right back up there and go to bed and sleep.
Really?
No, I'm joking.
Don't do that to me. No, I oversleep because I don't get enough sleep. Yes, Tootie. What, Pootie? You gotta mute this. Hold on. Okay, what? Go tell Dad. Dad is right there. She's telling on her brother. Okay. So we read Aries. Okay. Number 2, Moon in Taurus. Artistic, determined, overcautious, steadfast, and favorable for habitual solidity, better for new beginnings with longevity in mind and the physical senses. Moon in Gemini. Versatile, witty, superficial, manipulation, favorable for inconsistency. Oh, I wish he was in here so he can hear the Gemini part. You're Gemini. Favorable for inconsistency, shortcuts and recreation. Better for new beginnings requiring external assistance. Moon in Cancer. Sympathetic, protective, possessive, moody and favorable for relationships, growth, emotional attachment, and family. The Moon in Leo. Creative, fun-loving, self-indulgent, overbearing, favorable for presentations, attractive magic, hermetics, and emotional healing. Moon in Virgo. Meticulous, responsibility, stress, argumentation, favorable for orthodox conformity, detailing leadership, hierarchies, cycles, and schedules. You missed Gemini. You want me to read it again?
No, you can read it too.
Okay. Because I was about to say, I'll pause this and go back to you so you can hear for you leave out this door.
Oh, so it's like that. No, never mind. Keep going. I mean, but yeah.
Okay. Moon in Virgo. I just read. I'm gonna read it again. Moon in Virgo. Meticulous, responsibility, stress, argumentation, favorable for orthodox conformity, detailing leadership, hierarchies, and cycles or schedules. Moon in Libra. Creative, diplomatic, indecision, frivolousness, favorable for introspection, meditation, social benefits, enchantment, and glamour. Moon in Scorpio. Ambitious, emotional, secretiveness, domineering, favor for awareness increase, karmic agreements, psychic or psionic abilities, and interconnectedness or entanglement. Moon in Sagittarius. It's the Annunaki Bible. Moon in Sagittarius. All right, babe.
Call me once you finish
up. Okay. Moon in Sagittarius. Adventure, open-mindedness, restlessness, irresponsibility, favorable for confidence, expansion, imagination, travel, and growth. Moon in Capricorn. Responsibility, patience, materialistic, pessimism, favorable for foundations, structure, tradition, and regulations. Moon in Aquarius. Idealism, tolerance, tactless, fixedness, favorable for healing, habit breaking, purification, and personal transformation. Moon in Pisces, sensitivity, vague, discontent, favorable for secretiveness, dreams, intuition, prayer, meditation, and spiritual development. And that is the end of this tablet E. So if y'all guys are putting together something, or if you're in a leader in something, if you've been leading for a while, you realize the need of putting the right people in the right places. Sometimes people think, oh, you can just feel the need. But if you actually learn, that really has a lot of truth to it. People who have different signs, um, if you study it enough, and all of them don't Dana said I'm Libra and definitely not frivolous. Some may apply to you, all may apply to you. Um they have like it's like a duality thing going on. They have like the, I guess, the good side and the bad side. They didn't necessarily show it in that, but I have another book. It's by George Carey, and he goes a lot into the personalities of different people and the zodiac signs. And a lot of times, from what I've seen, especially from the signs in my family and my immediate household, as I began to look at it, and even the people with the same type of signs, there is, you may not necessarily relate to all of the ones that fall under you, but you can, a lot of times you can tell somebody else that's your sign, right? And it's like this group of things that these certain group of people, they all have these things in common. And that was really interesting to me. So like I said, I haven't really gotten all that down, but it's interesting that there are a lot of, especially Geminis. I have Geminis running all through my house. My husband, my two oldest sons are Geminis, right? And it's like sometimes it's like the same, dealing with the same person, people. And I'm just like, y'all, this is crazy, right? And people that I meet outside of my family that have that same type of attitude and persona about themselves. Now I really begin to study people, but some of these things, they got it down to a science where they can recognize this, even to where, look, here's how your psychics and those who do readings and stuff, here's how they make their money. They've studied this because they know that there is truth to this. That's why they can give you accurate readings. Every time you go to them for a reading, they're going to read you up and down and in and out. And if you're not familiar with how they know this information, you're going to think you didn't got a word from the Lord or a word from the other side. Whichever way you believe at this point, you're going to attribute it to that, when it's simply just a little bit of study of human nature and personality. I'm just saying. Okay. So let's hop over here to my big toe, and we'll read a couple pages of chapter 25, because we already at like 57 minutes. Divine is a Gemini. I remember you saying that before, Dana. You ain't got to tell me how he act. I know. I didn't grow up with it. Okay. The evolution of AO, or awareness. The awareness of a single cell, an amoeba, a worm, a bumblebee, a chimpanzee, and a human being are all fundamentally based upon the same process. Awareness differs mainly by degree. Somewhere along the path, from simple single process action reaction or stimulus response to a more complex multi process interaction reaction, the capacity to remember or store information evolved. It is this ability to store or retain information that enables learning. Even the simplest of biological life forms have the capacity to learn by retaining or storing information in their physical structures. DNA, for example. This learned information can be transferred to future generations through reproduction. Learning through the evolutionary process of exploring the possibilities and retaining the results of lessons learned in your DNA or in the Library of Congress, so that they can be passed on to future generations, is a natural self-reinforcing process. Deoxyribonucleic acid, short for what we know as, that's the long form of the short form of what we know as DNA, a nucleic acid that carries the genetic information into the cell and is capable of self replication and synthesis of ribonucleic acid and other forms of biomemory are not as difficult to influence or modify as most scientists think. It is commonly thought that it takes thousands of years for evolution to modify biology substantially, that many millennia must pass before complex biological systems like people or polar bears evolve in new ways of being, new instincts, new firmware. Quite the contrary. Biological systems do not necessarily go through a long, drawn out, and difficult random mutation and selection process to modify biomemory. In a relatively short time, significant change can be established or disestablished that will be passed from generation to generation if those later generations reinforce the change because they also find it profitable. Memory, capable of inputting and retrieving data quickly enough to support cognition, is a primary enabler of both species learning and dim awareness. Shorter data input and data modification times, as well as quick read and write access, are required for individual learning and to support a brighter awareness. It should be obvious to you that a brighter, more functional awareness is naturally associated with larger memory, shorter memory input and access times, and better information processing capabilities. What does that remind you of? A biological brain connected to a sensory apparatus or maybe a computer. It appears as if biological brain consciousness or digital consciousness systems operating with high bandwidth input output and very short processor times and memory access times might theoretically have an exceptional capacity for individual learning and brightness, evolving their own firmware and software. That theoretical potential for the exceptional brightness of a brain or digital computer could perhaps become actual brightness if the data input output systems connecting to its internal and external data source environments, along with its purpose, goal, intent, action, result, feedback systems, generate a rich enough set of uniquely profitable possibilities to provide adequate evolutionary potential to support the development of a high level mental function. In other words, if the entity interacts at a minimum, receives data, and makes choices based on those data within sufficiently complex environments and develops sufficiently high bandwidth connections to those environments, it will eventually evolve a higher, brighter level of awareness to better utilize that data. If the range of possible choices and the methods of selection between choices are also sufficiently rich and complex, the potential for brightness greatly expands. Hold on to these concepts. They will become more important later on as brains and computers are related to digital consciousness. Thus, biological systems, living things, evolve, learn, grow, and change purposely. They make progress. Their existence is directed by finding more profitable ways of being and relating. Profitable strategies such as storing food for the winter and technologies such as nest building are developed, internalized, and remembered, retained by biological modification, and put to good use by later, more successful generations. Over time, a biological or genetic group memory may develop a sort of hardwired cultural belief system. Heredity is not the only transfer mechanism. Simple flatworms have been trained to respond to external stimuli. Untrained flatworms that are fed the trained worms seem to gain the knowledge of their consumed brethren. Kids, don't try this at home unless you are a flatworm. eating your parents or teachers will not make you any smarter and could get you into serious trouble. Most of the more advanced products of evolution is chewing on their intel intelligence. What? Intelligentsia. Okay. Most of the more advanced products of evolution is chewing on their intelligentsia and find it more efficient to exchange information by energizing each other's sensory inputs and outputs, sight, sound, smell, touch, and taste, for example. This communicated information is processed, evaluated, acted on, stored, and retrieved. When a large dog faces you squarely, growls, and shows his teeth while the hand stands up on the back of his neck, do you get the intended message? Is there a successful audio-visual information transfer? Simple life forms know when things feel better. For instance, they know what, when, and how to eat and reproduce selectively. The extent to which learning takes place depends on the extent and efficiency which the experience interacts with memory. The degree of complexity of the life form allows for the variations in the specialization of the organs of awareness. Such specialization defines the breadth and depth of the sensory input and the speed and efficiency of storing, retrieving, and using information to describe, evaluate, and select possible action reaction sequences. All life forms react to their both internal and external environments. Every life form is in the problem solving mode, trying to improve its situation and increase its immediate profitability. Problem solving is the natural response to environmental pressure. Plants turn toward the sun, night crawlers scurry down their holes as they assess minute seismic danger signals, and humans have invented whiskey and nuclear bombs. Awareness is a characteristic of consciousness. To some extent, all the Earth's life forms are aware and conscious. And just a recap, just in case you forget why we even reading this, we're talking about growing ourselves spiritually. And to grow ourselves spiritually, we have to develop our consciousness or our spirit. This started off talking about a way to do this is through meditation, but a lot of times we don't necessarily really understand what meditation is. So it gave a few of his experiences through the first few chapters of this book just to get you in the flow of what he was talking about. Now he's breaking down to us scientifically what actually happens to us when we begin to perceive that there is more to us than what we can see in the mirror, right? There's a whole invisible being that we cannot see, and that is pure consciousness, pure awareness, and there is a way to develop it. And meditation is one of the most efficient ways that we have access to where we can develop ourselves spiritually. So it's going through the different explanations of different things, of different consciousness, and recognizing things from different areas of life, whether it be computers, animals, the plant kingdom, scientific explanations, all this stuff, right? So don't lose track of why we're here, right? Some of you may jump in like, okay, how is this lining up? So that's why every now and again I do a quick recap. This is called My Big Toe. My Big Toe. TOE is an acronym for Theory of Everything, representing my outlook on life, why I believe the way I do. It's my theory of everything, right? So we're growing our individual toes, right? Taking our little toes, developing them into bigger toes, right? Possibly, hopefully, it'll be a little bigger than it was when we first started, right? And it definitely has, just by some of the conversations we had and the experiences that we've been having since we started this. Our big toe is definitely growing, right? Okay. Did all that. I lost my spot. Hold on. Okay, yeah. Awareness is a characteristic of consciousness. To some extent, all the Earth's life forms are aware and conscious. And we're going to pause here in a few minutes. All store and retrieve information more or less continually and therefore have the capacity to learn, to improve themselves, and to become more than what they presently are, to evolve. Some awareness is more or less efficient, brighter or dimmer than others. And also, it's teaching you how to grow without all the religious mumbo jumbo and getting caught in religious traps. And if you are caught in a religious trap, it helps you to come out of that religious trap so you can grow organically outside of the boxes of fear and the things that religion imposes on you and telling you that this is what's happening over here when it's a lie, right? They put growth into a religious form, put a God over and tell you this is the way you got to grow. You better grow this way. You're going to find yourself in hell one day, right? When you close your eyes and wake up and realize you ain't here. That's a lie. It's all a lie, right? So once we break down the barriers of religion, doesn't matter where you come from, Christianity, Islam, whatever, the Buddhist faith, whatever, right? You got to break down those barriers. That's one level of the maze you have to break out of in order to really develop spiritually on the next level, right? You got to wake up to the illusion that you've been delusional, right? Okay. Some awareness is more or less efficient, brighter or dimmer than others. It is a continuum. Jellyfish, raccoons, and people are all aware of some things and unaware of others. It is more a matter of degree and focus than a fundamental difference in the nature of awareness. Limitations on the richness and complexity of the possible interactions and responses that an entity can have with its external and internal environments are what define each entity's capacity for awareness. The process of developing awareness is the same for all entities, whereas the limitations and the environments of each entity are unique. By now, it should be clear that developing and evolving awareness is a standard, normal, and natural happening among biological entities. Similarly, to one to a one cell biological entity, AO, absolute unbounded oneness, develops awareness of itself in relation to itself by mutating or modifying its internal uniformity or structure. I am using the term awareness here relative to AO in the same way that it is used above. Let's call it dim awareness. Dim awareness is fundamentally the same as any awareness, only very limited in its scope and complexity. At its dimmest, dim awareness is simply the potential for awareness. And this is where we'll pause at today. We're at an hour and 12 minutes. I think that's a good place to stop. It actually continues to go on about that awareness, but I think that's a good place to start. I'll come back and probably start at the top of this page. I'll probably come back to the page before and start at awareness just to kind of get us back into the flow of what we was talking about when we come back here Wednesday. But it is time to go, y'all. It is Tuesday, March the 1st, 2022, day 44 of year 4 of reading through the books of the Law and the Prophets, and of the 4-year consecutive day count, day 1062. We read Tablet E of the Complete Annunaki Bible, and we read a little bit of chapter 25 of My Big Toe. I hope you all enjoyed it. I'll share that snippet of Apocalypto, that movie I was telling y'all about earlier when we was talking about the eclipse is happening. When it get to that scene, y'all gonna know exactly what I'm talking about, right? Yeah, people, religions, religious beliefs, we do things that are well, when we wake up, we seem like, man, that was crazy. Like we were so ignorant. We do things and relate them, or we call them things that are supernatural when they're really not. We call them supernatural, or we either blame it on God or we'll blame it on the devil, right? Like there is no in between when you're stuck in religious box. There is absolutely no in between, right? And that's a really, really small toe. We're trying to break out of that. So with that being said, beautiful people, thank y'all for hanging out. May y'all continue to enlighten us and open our eyes and break us free. Help us to break free. Help us to recognize, first of all, when we're being held captive, and give us the strength and the courage to break our own selves free, because that's the key. You have to realize that you have been given the strength to break yourself free, to save yourself. If you sit back and you wait, now there are some situations physically that you may find yourself and somebody needs to come to your rescue. But this captivity that we're in, the mental captivity we're in, you may have people like me come along that'll drop nuggets of truth on you and help enlighten you, but it's still ultimately you that has to walk out of those prison walls. You have to come out of the box. You have to take those steps out of captivity. It's just like that little example, that guy who was stranded out in the ocean, right? God, come save me. And then a boat comes past, right? Hey man, you need something? No, no, God gonna save me. I'm waiting for God to come get me. Okay, take off on our speedboat. God, I need help. Save me. I'm drowning out here. Next thing you know, a cruise ship come by. I know they probably use different things. I'm gonna say a bigger boat. A cruise ship come by. They partying on the boat. Hey, man, overboard, man, overboard. Right? You take it. Hey, man. Hey, let's go. No, no, no. Toss the thing back. No, no, thank you. God is coming to save me. And they like, keep the party going. And they roll on. You out there. God, help me. Next thing you know, a helicopter. You got the Coast Guard coming out. Hey, man overboard. You got a whole guy come down. Hey, man, let's go. Yo, I am waiting for the creator of the universe, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to come lead me out of these watery abysses. Burn me back up. He'd have lost his mind. He for the fishes. Right? Man dies. I know I've created my own version of that story, right? Man dies. Shows up at the pearly gates of heaven. God. Then you hear me crying out to you, or Yah, whatever you call in the great spirit, the great cosmic energy, the great creator of all, whatever you call in the all, right? Hey, man. You ain't hear me calling out to you down there like I prayed multiple times. And he looking at you like, bruh, I sent you a boat, a partying cruise ship, and the Coast Guard. What else you want me to do? You had to get on the boat or get on the cruise ship or ride up in that helicopter. Like, you literally have to save yourself, my G. He said, yo, you died needlessly, right? Go on, go on. You know what? We're going to send you back through this matrix again. Get out of here. The next thing you know, you bursting through the matrix again, crying. Oh, give me my baby. The baby crying. I got to do this again. All right, so I know that's kind of a silly example, but that's what it is. Like, seriously, that's the place Christians and religion find themselves at, right? And it blows them away, because they're gonna constantly keep waiting for this outside savior to come get them, and he's never gonna show up. I know that sounds like blasphemy to you. It sounds like blasphemy to y'all. I know, but keep living life, right? You're gonna live and die. And this savior is never going to come get you. But let me tell you the powerful thing about religion. It is crazy to me. And I can see it now that I'm outside of it. It is so powerful. It is so powerful that it will continue to go on for generations. Like, and it's this constant, it's this, they, y'all, the power is so strong in religion. Doesn't matter which side you're in, even if you're on different types of faith where you blow yourself up and you get all these holes and liquor and stuff because you didn't sacrifice your life. You know, you get what 10 virgins. I don't know. I probably screwed that up, right? But you get what I'm saying. Different religions got different things where you sacrificing your life for your savior, this outside savior, and this dude or this female, whoever it is, they never show up for you because you don't realize that you are who you're looking for. You've always been who you've been looking for. Everything that you need to save yourself has already been given to you when you come into this world. When you break through the legs of your mother's matrix, You have everything you would ever need to be equipped for. You just need to develop it, right? People don't get that. But the pull is so strong in religion and keeps you going outside of yourself, trying to find this outside savior and somebody else to worship. When we were really, I know this gonna sound like blasphemy to some of y'all, but y'all gotta keep growing before y'all can see it. You weren't sent here to spend your waking days worshiping an unseen creator, right? It's just like children growing up with your parents. I brought up this example before. That's acceptable when you're a baby, right? You know how babies and toddlers hang all over you. Mommy, I love you so much. Or daddy, I love you so much. I love my mommy and daddy so much, right? That's like us. We'll just talk about the church house, right? We'll talk about our Christian brethren and sisterin, right? And we'll talk about the ones that's transitioned out the church house over into the Hebrew roots, the Hebrew brethren, Yah, Yahuwah, Yahweh Shai, same thing, right? That's acceptable when you're a baby. But as you get a little bit older and your body is growing and developing, y'all don't expect his children to be hanging on to him 24/7. Think about if you have children. Now, those that don't have children may not be able to relate, but you absolutely right, Kimball Mac. Religion is a powerful spell. It'll keep you spellbound to the day you close your eyes, right? And you never develop from the infancy stage, right? It's like Christians are like the toddlers. I love you so much is what you call worship, right? But that is not what y'all you think the creator of all is so, what's the word? Um so insecure that he needs the creation that he created to constantly worship him to keep him in his state of awesomeness? No, he would probably have done better than not even send you here, right? Because he it she whatever. It's a compilation of all our energies. It's just gonna be just like it always has been, right? He doesn't need us to constantly worship. As a matter of fact, if you got children that are getting older and they about 18, mom, man, I know you love me, baby. You better get your tail out of here and go get a job. You're gonna get out of my house. What are you doing? You can't just like it would get irritating. I would get completely pissed. Don't be hanging on me all day telling me how much you love me. Like there is nothing wrong with you mentally. There is nothing wrong with you physically. If there were different mental or physical things, we could accommodate for that. And then, there'd be a whole nother story, right? But you got all your good common sense. Right now, you're making excuses. You're being lazy. You're choosing not to grow, right? Oh, there's a lion out there in the streets. We need to stay in here. I'm gonna live in your basement forever, mama and daddy. Like, no, you absolutely not. We will flood our basement out to get you out of here. That's what religion is. It keeps you retarded in an infancy state, right? Keeps you looking for outside of yourself everything that you can only pull from the inside of you. And here's what's crazy. Here's what's crazy for those of us that's come out the church house and still clinging on to the New Testament. I'm gonna give y'all one a day. Even JC done told you the kingdom of heaven is within you. Mm. Mm. Anybody ever ask him why? If everything else was made up, that part is true. It's because you can only get to the creator by going within you, right? Meditation is one of the, you call it meditation, whatever. Christendom calls it meditation. By the fact, in the Old Testament, y'all done told Joshua meditate, right? That's how you gonna make your way successful before meditating my commands day and night, right? Them same principles is given to you. Somehow we seem to miss that. It's in the Gospel of Thomas too. It's been so long since I read the Gospel of Thomas. I can't even tell you what was in there. But yeah, all these principles, you can find these principles. Here's what's crazy, at least from the ones I've studied already. These little small principles to help you grow spiritually, you will find them in every religion. Although the stories that they spin around these principles, they're different, and people tend to cling to the stories and fight over the stories and completely miss the information that they hid in there for you. Only those ones who are, let's say this, those ones who are truly devoted to finding their creator actually find the hidden nuggets and realize, oh my gosh, what I've been searching for outwardly, I got to go in to get. And those are the ones that begin to drop out of religion, right? Because I don't know, I think that's just the path, at least from what I understand. People who actually, okay, people who've been raised up in it, in order to, they don't have somebody around them teaching them from the time they come out of the womb, so they never ever get trapped into religion. It's like they got to go into the depths of religion and be diligent to it before their eyes will awaken that something is wrong about this. Like, why am I not getting results? So I know I hear you, but something is wrong about this. Like me, that's how I grew up. That's how my parents grew up, right? So I was faithful to it. And as I got into the depths and deep study, I started to have some questions. I was like, wait a minute. I'm giving my life to this. Something is just, so it don't feel the same. Something is wrong. And I began to notice the inconsistencies. And as I began to research, right? So some people take that route. Some people never ever have to go that route because they already have parents who are fully awake and they just teach them the principles without having to give them the religious stories, and they never get trapped into it. Is your way right? We just all have different paths that we take, and we find the creator from whatever path we're on. I heard somebody say, and you hear the church talk about this a lot. They talk about it's only one way to Jesus Christ, but I think people misunderstood what some people were trying to say. People come from all different paths of life, right? But they all tend to, if they're serious about it and they're really on the search for the creator and who the great spirit is, yeah, we come from different areas. Some gonna come from this culture. I've come from this culture. You came from that culture. He came from that culture over there. She came from there. But we're all in search for the true creator. Our languages are different. Our skin colors are different. The belief systems we have is different, but we're still in search of the same thing, the true creator, right? Because that's what all religion does. It teaches you about a creator, right? So we, even ignorantly, especially if they're teaching us about a false God, in our hearts, you have those ones who are really searching for the true creator. And we just happen to find ourselves when we wake up and come into this realm. We just happen to find ourselves in certain spaces of the earth, right? In different religions. That's just where we were put. And we have to work our way out of that maze to actually get to the true creator and pull ourselves above that and out of that. But some people don't realize that. And it's like, this is where I grew up. This is where I came. This is who I roll with. This is my clique. This is where I'm going to die. Like, bruh, okay. That's not where you were put here. And they keep looking for the source of the creator outside of themselves. Oh, Jesus is over there. Go look over there. If anybody tell you I'm over, don't go looking for me over there, right? It's like the same principle. You're not going to find me over there, the creator over here and over there. You can only find me from within, right? And those of us who've been meditating and actually been having these out of body experiences, that really begins to open up your understanding to what that really means. You can only find the source of creation by going within. You have to block out and focus. You have to zone everything else out and you have to focus within in order to tap into the source of creation, y'all. And that's why we're here. I'm just trying to wake y'all up a little bit, take y'all along the journey as I'm still waking up and finding the source of creation. All right, y'all. With that being said, we out of here. I love y'all. I see y'all back here Thursday. We're looking for the new moon and it is set to show. We're going to start looking for her Thursday, right? So if we spot her Thursday, that means the Sabbath changes for that moon cycle. It's an easy way to remember. Whatever day we spot the new moon on. Now, let's not get caught up in terms and stuff. A new moon is completely black, right? It's complete. She's starting over fresh, right? She's starting her new monthly cycle. Hey girl, we see you, but we can't call it until we see her, right? And it is true, a completely blacked out moon is considered a new moon, but you don't know that because you can't see her, right? So you can't even call her, right? Because what if you call her on her first transition day, and this is one of the longer months where her transition day is longer than a day. You call the new moon on the wrong day, your count is going to be off. So you have to call her when you first can see her. That's what we're talking about, new moon. You got people going to argue back and forth. Well, new moon, yeah, we know that. But you can't call it if you can't see it. We can calculate it, but we can't see it. We can't start our count till we can see it, right? Okay. So with that being said, I love y'all. I'll see y'all back here Thursday. I'm gonna be on time. I'm gonna go to bed early. 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, y'all. Love y'all. Bruce. Bye.